All right, good morning. I hope this market can move one way or the other. I marked the weekly chart on the lower left. You'll see the little green arrow under the bar. That's obviously the weekly range. And as I'm eyeballing this, it looks like the narrowest range week this whole year. I mean, just see, it's just a little dash, call whatever, doji, um, right in the area of the prior high there. And just scrolling back to see if there's anything that resembles, it's getting tight, but just as I look at this, it looks like the narrowest range since the bottom there in April. There's just been a lack of movement, volatility, and yeah, I'm hoping so, McGraw. I mean, I've got, SPX. These are the big levels of high open interest. So which way it'll flip, or can it get out of this range one way or the other? It's in an uptrend here. I guess we assume that it goes higher until it doesn't. And whatever Mr. Powell is going to say. I mean, we've talked about this inflation theme, and that was the big news and what they're doing, and it's time for them to slow things down, so on and so forth. And so, I think it was sometime, last week we started talking about the fact that wood was dropping and the interest rate drop, and recently copper dropping, and all of those things starting to direct toward, hey, the belief is things are going to slow down here, because that's what happens as the economy starts to slow. So we'll see what they have to say. I guess hopefully, the stimulus corruption part of what they've been doing is over. People are pleading for people to go apply for jobs. So weird times all over. But we'll see where things go here. It's pretty tight, and we'll see a break above or below. Well, I would say, Monday's range there, and above Monday's high. Yesterday was kind of an inside day. Well, actually, looks like it poked above the high there. Just a little bit. What was that? That was the 14th. Yesterday was just inside. So just running in place. And the markets aren't really doing much of anything here this morning. Let's see, yesterday poked up, got rejected, didn't get, I thought it would get down here. And at the time, it's usually what it does is, and once a reversal begins to happen and enters the void, it typically goes down. But once it dipped, I guess that was close enough for the buy the dippers, and it didn't really go anywhere. So, we thought it was going to be a replay of let's blast off to the upside in the last few minutes of the trading day, and that didn't happen. It just went out. It just went out with a whimper. So, not much happening there. YM almost got down. Well, the futures almost got down to the 50 MA. The continuous contract, we changed contracts, and down there that actually tagged the 50 MA. However, the industrials themselves, obviously most widely followed, got close, and I was looking for that to hit it, and then then a reversal, but it's just been a slow, steady grind to the downside. We got this little retest pattern there. We'll see if it can move back up. I suspect until the news comes out, we're just going to get, wiggles back and forth. Obviously, nobody wants to get blindsided by some news. And if you're talking about on YouTube topic for today, for MT Live, just click the link that I put in up above the chat there. So NASDAQ futures have reached their destination. I guess looking at the cues, got a bit of a range expansion bar as it pushed up above the highs and some profit taking, normal, but it was an inside day. No damage done so far to the move up. You can see the measured move type of extension there above the prior high, greater than 100% retracement, suggests prices slow down in momentum. And you can see the weekly right there, same kind of little doji bar. The Russell, let's look at the IWM. I thought maybe this could get going and push up, to get above these highs there and maybe make a new all-time high. But nope, it's just been chopping back and forth. Came down to this prior low yesterday and flipped back up. So buyers stepped up at the end of the day. Looking at the 15-minute, as it came down, they rallied up in here and tried to roll over, but nope, they hung on. And let's look at the futures, current contract, and just an inside so far. Big yawn going on here this morning as everybody waits for the same thing. Bonds flip up. So now that this didn't go down and test the prior low or make a lower low, it's still in a downtrend. It's starting to move sideways, see if it can get above that pivot. But, the way this has, pushed up through here, we'll see what happens, obviously, after the Fed announcement. But if this starts to move up, it's really going to be interesting to see how this plays out as to, it's one thing for certain intermarket changes to happen that would now support that inflation will be under control. It's another thing where the economy is supposed to be so strong. We want to look at TLT. TBT. We could look at TLT. Where the economy is supposed to be so strong, and all of a sudden, bonds start moving up. You can see here's the pivot high, kind of poked up there, higher low, higher high. And this isn't totally out of the woods as far as the downtrend here. This created the void. We had this discussion in the green room yesterday about stocks that make accelerated moves and the retracements that set up a sell setup. Now, if it reaches its destination, right? So an accelerated move, and maybe it has, it came down into this area, and originally, as the trend was down, I think it was okay. It stabilizes, and it would make the next drop, and the 10-year would move up toward 2%. Obviously, that's off the table at this point. But the discussion we had in the green room was about stocks and downtrends that make an accelerated move and what sets up a short setup. And it required making a pivot, right? Retesting the pivot, and then a pattern where sellers take control again. That's not happening here. At times, it makes a higher low, higher high as it gets closer toward some type of resistance area. And that's what's known as a bear flag, where it grinds up. Major resistance is way up here, and it grinds up toward a resistance area, and then it begins to roll over. Sometimes it drops down through the prior pivot low. Sometimes it makes a double top. In any event, this looks like it's going to move higher at this point. We'll see how high, but what I was getting at as it relates to these interest rates and what's happening, and so-called this economy is doing so great, and you start seeing the 10-year, just assuming this continues to drop, TLT goes up, and commodities start to drop, like wood has dropped a whole lot. Copper, right? That broke down yesterday. And you start, looking at ags, deep pullback toward major support. So, a lot of intermarket things beginning to happen to suggest that this inflation thing maybe truly is under control. So if it is, well, at this point in time, why should the Fed do anything? I don't think anybody's expecting them to do anything. Everybody's waiting to see what are they going to say. Are they leaning toward tapering or some kind of tightening of short-term interest rates at some time in the future? So that'll be what it'll be focused on. They're not going to do anything today other than talk about what they might do. Isn't some of the movement you're highlighting a result of the dollar fluctuation? Sure. We could talk probably for hours about intermarket relationships with, the dollar and gold and oil and commodities and so on. It's a pretty in-depth subject, but yes, the movement in the dollar up or down can affect many things. But obviously, we don't have time for that today. Dennis, if you're asking what time today is MT Live, it's 12 o'clock. If you click on the link Eastern, you click on the link and register, you'll see that. Okay. Now, so you see the euro, we looked at this yesterday. Data's coming in slow for whatever reason. Come on, eSignal, wake up. Where we talked about it forming a potential for a 1, 2, 3, 4. And we got the move above the inside bars high. So now we'll set an alert and see if it breaks below yesterday's low. If it does that, we should start getting a move lower, which in turn, the dollar will move up. Look at UUP, you can see it's bottoming out here, it's retesting the low on the weekly. And other implications, of course, for gold, oil, earnings for companies that do a lot of business overseas. And the transports, they're holding on there, right? Kind of they're doing that Christmas tree type of thing, but it's broken down. So again, everything is quiet, just kind of marking time. We'll see what it does. Oil, maybe it topped out. What range expansion bar? Resistance is higher up, but it's getting closer to it. We covered that. I think it was around that $75 area. So it's getting close. Gold stabilizing here. Didn't have such a great day yesterday at all. Didn't break below the lows. And silver doing nothing. Glenn, so SPX, it's kind of up to you whether you want to play today. SPY. Things are pretty flat. And yeah, I think so too. Probably not, because things could really move. And which way are they going to move? We really don't know. But it's so tight. It's probably, I think, it's just best to stand aside today and let it do its thing. And we'll have better insights as to, I think by the end of the week, and of course, we'll get some insights today, but by the end of the week and then going into next week with all this options expiration getting out of the way, better odds of different spreads there. So, all yours, Dan. Is Dan here? Yeah.
Well, good morning. Yeah, things are very quiet here as expected. Remember, Debbie was asking about odds of a big gap. I said I surely didn't have a fear of that today. So all our opens are fine. If you have any questions, just ask. VXX, either VXX or VIX options. We're going to be looking to do a bullish position on volatility ahead of FOMC. We'll see about timing on entering it beforehand. I see the CPSH here. Well, today's Wednesday over Monday's high. I like that. Gappers here. AUVI, I just saw screaming here pre-market. You know, let's watch on a pullback. Cruise ships were weak yesterday, getting an across the board upgrade. But still, still bearish daily. I would have much preferred them coming down to the 50 and then look for a reversal. This was a bearish reversal, but now it's gapping. I don't know, it's a mess. It looks like a toy. Mike X-ray gapping down, 24 bucks. No pattern, but it's actually bullish pre-market. And today's discussion on MT Live is trading gaps. We do them every single day. So that will be a great session, as they all are. Quebec Delta subscriber emailed me asking about possible bottoming pattern. I said, sure, keep an eye on it. Monday had a nice wide range igniting. It's a questionable deep inside bar. And I said, let's see if we can get another one or two consolidation bars. Hopefully in the upper 40% of yesterday's range. Now that's a nasty downtrend, up and down to 26. I mean, it looks lower until it doesn't. EDU, I'm not sure if this is the same sector, but I mean, I think those are those Chinese education companies. ALF, this looked like a Reddit toy yesterday. And it's holding pretty well. You know, if this is a Reddit toy, then it's worth watching intraday. Actually, I'll put that right here. ALF. Oliver Wolf. Somebody mentioned that yesterday, but there was no pattern, and there's no pattern right now. So, I keep reminding people, it helps if you ask me what you want me to look at. Many times it should be self-explanatory, but in this case, I have no idea what to do with Wolf. Maxer, day trade long, 37 bucks. Sure. Yeah. Gap on the top of the range, so maybe a 15-minute high. Yeah, I'll put that over here. My XR. SPI had a bullish gap, still coming in, now gapping up again. Wow, now it's a big gap back up. Now, if this were gapping hypothetically to 7, then I would love it, because then I would have a nice fluid price void to move back up. But now that I'm gapping way up here, and pre-market it was over this and retracing, then I get no interest in that. Herb, I think these are earnings now. Herb gapping down 20. That's a bearish gap on Herb. Might be able to day trade that either way. We'll see what it does in the first 30 minutes. Lazy boy, I only see one print down here, so I don't trust it. DT, it's had a big run, gapping down a little bit. No pattern yet. Earnings, RBLX getting whacked here, 83 bucks. No pattern, but we'll come back. APPH 1650. So it's gapping right, pretty much right to yesterday's high. So that could be a 30-minute high trade for day trade. This is the fluid move back up, but it's gapping to resistance. So I want to see what it does in the first 30 minutes. I'm going to put that in a window on my other computer. Let's see. Cat, we're watching for a put spread, maybe after FOMC. Saying your drop down. Yeah, but it's not a quality gap. You know, do you remember Thane, the 10 do nots is, you know, I'm not interested in things that are climactic far from the 20. So it's not a good gap trade. I mean, it is gapping up here, but I would ignore the daily. If you want to day trade this, ignore the daily. It's not helping you at all. So now, 15-minute chart, it's a bullish gap over this red bar and going sideways at resistance. But it's at resistance. So if this interests you, put it in a 5-minute thumbnail, and let's see what it does. Yeah, Oracle 7716. Yeah, that's an ugly gap. All right. We'll see what it does. You know, that's a leading stock, so we'll see what it does. Kin. Oh, the way that's going sideways, it looks like a buyout. That's a strange. It's, you know, whenever you see a big gap, and that's big, that's 50% gap, and going tight like that, that looks like a buyout to me. Arville. There we go. There's a gap breakout. I would like, you know, I like them when they gap just over resistance or even ignore that tail. If this were gapping over 21, then I would say buy 5-minute high. So now it's gapping to 22.75. So it has, you know, it's a big gap, but it's worth watching. Let's keep an eye on that. Bravo Zulu. Somebody, oh, I think it was Bat21, texted me after the market, and he said this thing's moving. Yeah, but he took a screenshot. I don't know if he got it off Reddit or whatever, and it said something like, "Oh, this stock's moving." So even at 1240 yesterday, I said, "What are you talking about?" Not you, Bat, but whoever. You know, it just exudes to me the you know, the people just trying to pump things. So let's say hypothetically you're in this thing thinking it's going to go up, and it ain't going up, so you need to create more demand for it. So you send out a text to your followers and you try to pump it up, and that didn't work. Here, let me see exactly what he said. I wish Zoom allowed me just to copy paste, so much easier. I like to. So this is yeah, I don't know where it's coming from, but it says the new shares seeing increased volume over the last 20 minutes. Seeing names circulated as new Wall Street bets play. That was yesterday at 12:10. Um, Look at that. There's 12:10. There's absolutely nothing on the chart to, to support that statement. All right, OIS, we were watching in the green room yesterday, and I like it, daily, weekly, monthly. So I actually posted it to our subscribers, and I arbitrarily said, you know what? Let's see if we can get a pullback right here to 790-ish, right? 790, 795. Or yeah, there's 790, because then it's still in the upper, it'd be a third retracement into this. And if it doesn't, and we get a nice inside bar, then we'll buy it tomorrow as a 1, 2, 3. But I like it, daily, weekly, monthly. Looks, my target will be 12 and a half. So for $8 stock to go 12 and a half, I think that would be pretty darn good trade. We'll talk about this one if it can get over Monday's high. I like it. So yeah, what's our S has been on our list for a while. ASTS AR. Yeah, over yesterday's high is fine. Sure. Sure. ACMR. JR. ACMR. Again, I have absolutely zero idea what you want, what your bias is. What is your bias on this? I mean, the entry, this was a closing bullish bar on 610. Your bullish entry was the next day over the high. Now it is $18 higher than the 20 MA with no support. So that's just absolutely nothing of interest to us. There's no pattern here on the 15-minute to go long or short. And again, I don't know what your question is, so I'm just doing my best to help. DCPH. Interest, DCPH. This one is a bottoming pattern. It broke out. I like the bottoming tail. So this one's okay over yesterday's high. Sure. And then you got a little price void here. So yeah, I mean, that's just a continuation, little breakout. I looked at AMC, this is a Reddit toy. I would love to sell a call spread on this. And if, I got a long email from somebody who, he's a subscriber of ours, and he's like, Dan, I've been selling out of the money calls on this. And if, I don't mind getting a sign, then I'll do a covered put on it. And he sounded very knowledgeable. And I'm like, go for it. I said, your only risk is getting caught up in a short squeeze. And then I said, also make sure that your broker has stock to assign to you. If it's short. But yeah, I mean, this thing's climactic. You had a topping tail. It was showing relative strength on that move back up. HLX. I would like it a whole lot better. Dave, if I love yesterday's candlestick. I love it. Yesterday's candlestick from a little bull flag here is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So the only fly in the ointment is Mondays. No, I'm getting my